Peace to the family. Greetings, good afternoon. Happy Monday. Today is July the 10th. All right. We're going to have a conversation dealing with Hip Hop 50. It's going to be an ongoing conversation that I'm going to be having where I speak on hip hop and the memories, some of the facts, some of the some mysteries, some decoding, everything hip hop for the Hip Hop 50th, where I'm gonna do my best to enlighten, because what I'm realizing is people have a perspective on things based off of their time that they were introduced to it. Case in point, if somebody was born in the year of 2010, they would have almost no knowledge of what took place in 1990, 1980, 1973, the year that hip hop was born. Their only perspective of what came before they were even born is what they see in the media. And if the media is erroneous and filled with falsehoods and half-truths, then their perception of what that reality was will be a perception of half-truths and falsehoods. So they'll think about they'll romanticize false realities based off of what they may see in Hollywood, or based off of what they may see on MTV, or based off of what they may see in popular culture, right? So it's important for those of us who have the experience, because experience is the best of teachers. This is something that you cannot get out of a book. This is something that you can't get off of ChatGPT. This ain't something that you could get off of the internet, right? Experience is what they say is golden. Okay? Experience is golden. It's the best of teachers. So I want to speak about my experience through the lens of hip hop. Now, when I say hip hop, I want to be clear about what I'm talking about versus what I'm not talking about, okay? So when I'm talking about hip hop, I'm talking about a culture, okay? And there's 5 pillars to this culture. I'm going to name all 5 of them. 1 is rapping, or MCing, what they call master of ceremony. Now, keep in mind, you could be a master of the ceremony and you don't have to be a rapper. Right? You do not have to be a rapper. You could be a master of the ceremony and you don't have to be a rapper, right? You could move the crowd and you don't have to be a rapper. So that's one pillar of hip hop. It is rapping, right? The MC, the voice. The other pillar of hip hop is graffiti, or what you call artwork, right? You don't have to be a graffiti artist to be a part of hip hop. But if you do graffiti, then yes, I'm speaking to you. That is your pillar right there, the pillar of art. But nowadays, because we have AI, and nowadays because we have other tools and whatnot, like Photoshop, Illustrator, you have graphic designers, you have 3D designers, all of that falls underneath the pillar of art. The next pillar in the culture of hip hop is dance, right? In the beginning, or in the inception of hip hop, or in the earlier stages of hip hop, where it existed prior to it evolving to whereas somebody born in the 90s interfaced or interacted with it, or versus someone who was born in the year 2000, how they interface with it and whatnot. I have a new name for the 2000 babies, and we're going to do a whole Hip Hop 50 show on that, and I call them Y2K Osiris. Not YK Osiris. The people, the children, or the generation that were born in the year of 2000 and onward. And my humble, and my theory is called, and I'm coining it, is Y2K Osiris. Y2K because they're born in the Y2K, right? They were part of the quote unquote, because the Y2K thing is a little bit deeper than people actually realize. And Osiris, because Osiris is the Lord of the underworld. Okay? He's the Lord of the perfect black. He's the Lord of the underworld. The first person, coincidentally, one of the first people, coincidentally, of the Y2K Osiris generation is a young lady by the name of Isis. She goes by the name of Ice Spice. She's born on January 1st, 2000. Okay? For all of my numerologists and whatnot, when you do her card, she's very powerful. I believe that's the Ace of Spades. She was born on January 1st, 2000. And her name is Isis. Okay? Right? So she represents, she's not the representative, but she would be the first baby born in that quote unquote Y2K Osiris generation that I'm talking about. That Y2K Osiris generation in the year of 2020, they were 20 years old. That's Pop Smoke in them. Okay? That's a different generation. This generation grew up with Chief Keef. This generation grew up with the war in Iraq. When they were 12 years old, they were on Twitter and they was on YouTube following the motherfucking the mass killings and the quote unquote serial killings, and they were inundated with the real life I would call it serial killings that were taking place in Chicago, amongst other things. So this generation has been primed and groomed and grown up in the underworld to do all things underworld and all things, Y2K Osiris. And that'll be a whole nother show that we're going to build on and whatnot. But we're going to put it all together. Believe you me when I tell you. Okay? Believe you me when I tell you. So, like I said, the dances that came in 2000 versus if my son was born in 2020, right? So the way that he sees dances, the way that he sees people dancing is not similar to how I saw dancing when I saw people spinning on their head on cardboard. There was no TikTok dances. It was no Snapchat dancing back then. That was the beginning of that expression. We were watching it break out in real time. People were doing the worm, and then they started doing other shit, the Cabbage Patch. Then they were doing the WAP. Then they were doing the Dougie Fresh. I was there for all of that. You feel me? And that experience allows me to understand this pillar called this quote unquote pillar in this culture called hip hop called dance, because I've seen it evolve out of those movements to the point where we doing Afrobeat dances now, and we doing all kind of other dances, and they twerking at the slave castle in Ghana, right? Because if it was spiritual, they would have been twerking at the castle all the way back in the 80s. People been going to those castles. For everybody that's like, oh, no, they're just, the ancestors need a little bit of, they need to get some twerk air. You know what I mean? I don't know. They needed to smell some twerk wind or whatnot. So the sisters had to go there to twerk on the castle. You know what I'm talking about? If that was the case, they would have been doing that. You know what I mean? I think that, But anyway, but that's still part of the pillars of hip hop, though. You understand? That's still part of the pillars of hip hop. And if you would ask me on a good night, or for some plum wine and some Yakington and maybe some runts, I would be like, yes, twerking is the most spiritual dance in the portfolio of dances that we have as a people. You feel me? Done properly, yes, it is. I was at a performance where the twerking was done properly. And that was an experience. It was spiritual. I was able to align my breathing. You understand? You feel me? And my blood flow and everything. And I was able to tap into the power of it. It's a powerful thing. It's a powerful tool. It's a powerful expression. It, like other things, have been hijacked. And when you niggify something, you lower the frequency on it. You put it in polyester. Okay? You wrap that bitch in synthetics and whatnot. So there's a synthetic approach to it that I feel should be fine-tuned and whatnot. And some of the additives should be removed. And you could put the spirituality in that thing and tell us where to go. And we'll go dumb. Right? So that is the dance, is the pillar of hip hop, right? And it's all encompassing. It's the shit that has people in Japan, in Korea, and everywhere else around the world, in India and in Africa, mimicking our moves, tapping into our, this is an exercise. The shit that Elephant Man and them was doing, Pond River and all of that, that's all exercising. You feel me? That's all. If you know what you're doing, it's all an exercise. All of these dances there's no such thing as an evil dance. The stanky leg didn't do nothing to you niggas. Actually, the stanky leg will help your fucking your phallus breathe, nigga. It's a phallus stretching exercise. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? And for the sisters, if you do the stanky leg and then you go do a yoni steam, you'll thank me later. So all of these things are part of the repertoire of our culture. Now, the fifth pillar, right? The fifth pillar and the missing pillar, right? Remember, in masonry, there's a missing pillar, right? The missing pillar, the broken pillar in the culture. The reason why the culture is not standing up strong the way that it was intended to stand is because the fifth pillar is culture. The fifth pillar is the knowledge of self, right? It's the knowledge of self. It's consciousness, right? That pillar has been repaired to a degree. You feel me? That pillar has been repaired. It's been given back to the people. Okay? Through the years of, if hip hop is 50, it started out with the culture. It started out with all five pillars intact, and it was operating, functioning properly. That's where you get the balance, right? Because we had a unique balance. It wasn't all God body, what's the lessons of the day, and the black man is God. It wasn't all of that. It was not all that. We were not inundated with it, but we had a balance of it. Okay? The dichotomy of what the times, the early days of hip hop, we don't have that dichotomy anywhere in America right now, first of all. To be honest with you, I don't see that dichotomy. You know, there's hoods everywhere, but the dichotomy that existed in those days and times, that is a unique dichotomy. That is a unique time. That is a unique quote unquote timeline. That is a unique quote unquote time in history. Everything was unique to that time. To try to compare it, it is impossible because the technology was different. The government was different. Everything was different. It was just a different day and age. Okay? Different day and age. It was a different frequency. Everything was different, right? But it was scary outside. It was dangerous outside. It was dark outside. Buildings in the Bronx were burning. You feel me? I was born in the Bronx, right? Me and Blue, we born in the Bronx. 75, okay? Hip hop born in 73. I'm in the baby carriage. My surroundings is nothing but burning buildings and whatnot. I'm talking about abandoned buildings. Shit look like Detroit. The shit look like Beirut, nigga. Dogs running around, loose on the run, loose dogs. Packs of them niggas. Rats. This is before crack too. This is just, the remnants of COINTELPRO, the remnants of Doogie, the dope, the collapsing of New York City by way of the hands of the mafia and the hands of heroin, King Heroin, by way of France and the Italians, okay, through the mafia, okay? Chemical warfare, they basically, it brought more, I would say it brought more despair than it brought repair. You feel me? And that's the backdrop to what hip-hop is born in. But you ain't hear niggas jump out talking about selling dope in the beginning. Nicky Barnes and them have fell around, in the late 70s, Guy Fisher, all of that shit existed. But the early hip hop, they were talking about getting out of poverty and basically having fun and partying and shaking the leg and getting with the shorties and whatnot. The element of gangsterism and criminality had not yet taken over as of yet, right? This is the earliest days of hip hop. There was, and I'm going to expound more on the fifth pillar and whatnot, right? Because fast forward today, individuals such as myself, my brother, A.A. Rashid, KT the Arch Degree, Mama Pill, King Simon, Brother Rich, Sadnetta, all of these channels, all of these expressions, higher level conversations, the paradigm shifters, every expression that you've seen thus far since you niggas met me personally, or ever since you plugged in, because you probably plugged in before you even ran into me. But all of these expressions of consciousness, right, coming from your people and whatnot, that's that pillar repair. You know what I mean? Even though some people crumble and fall and whatnot, that's the pillar returned and repaired. And out of that, you've gotten some classical music. Y'all probably don't realize it now because if you're part of the fanfare, people ain't celebrating it now. But 10 years from now, the shit that Cyroc was doing, Cambada was doing, Red and Blue Purple like Prince, you know what I mean? Scorpion King, all of that shit will be the legends of that time. Believe you me when I tell you. But anyway, let's talk about Ralph McDaniel. Let's talk about the impact of Video Music Box, right? Because I don't want to get up here and ever talk to people like, oh, we was there and this. No, I'm here to teach, right? I'm here to teach in the most non-emotional, but impactful way possible, right? Because I want my audience to understand the importance of certain times in the culture, experiences in the culture, these people's contribution to the culture, right? And if you're a connoisseur of the culture, and if you were born in the years of the 90s or the 2000s, or you from a different region or a different country, and you're not familiar with the foundation of hip-hop, right? And when we talk about hip-hop, we talk about not rap music. So for people that's like hip-hop is dead, that's impossible. Hip-hop can't be dead. The culture ain't dead. Art ain't dead. Dance is not dead. DJing and whatnot is not dead. It might have shifted. Knowledge and whatnot, that's not dead, bro. It might have shifted, you feel me? But it's not dead. And if it died, it came back in the form of a mushroom. You feel me? If it died, then this is the underworld expression of it. You feel me? It is what it is. But What I do know is that Ralph McDaniel's contribution through the daytime video show called Video Music Box that was only available. Remember, when I say when this wasn't available on mainstream television in New York, this was available on the TV's version of an AM system, right? Which was UHF and VHF. This was on channel 31. On the other channel, you had to switch the shit to UHF, right? You had to put hanger wires in your television, and you had to put aluminum around it, and somebody had to hold that shit to get a clear screen. We're talking about that type of struggle. We ain't talking about flat screens. We're not talking about 100 inches. We're not talking about big floor models, my ninjas. We talking about small motherfuckers, the TVs that the crackheads sold. The TVs that the crackheads had liquidated. Those TVs, the shits that Ezekiel and them niggas was carrying. It was those televisions. We should thank the crackheads for voluntarily clearing out niggas' old furniture, because we literally started to upgrade. The more that the crackheads cleaned the houses out, the more the shit started to get better. When you think about it, IKEA came after they started stealing couches and shit. They started stealing the small televisions. We got floor models. They took the floor models out. We got flat screens. They took the flat screens out. We got the Vision Pro. Okay? Blue is in the building. We don't understand the significance of what crackheads mean to clearing out things in the house. But
So you got to put something down and pick
that's right.
something up.
You know what
I'm saying? So they
were like
human
roaches. We fed the landfills. We helped. It was a trade-off in a sense. Crackhead credits.
Jump over, get your workout on, girl.
You feel
crackhead credit, right? Oh, nigga, don't break this shit. You got a hop, not.
Now she got a bunny hop, but Meek Mill
got a bunny hop. Yeah, like you can't have Meek Mill and them niggas outdoing your bunny hop space.
Don't you know? You bunny hop so you can run.
I'm scared.
Yo, Meek Mill bunny hop so you can fly, sis. Meek,
yo,
you said who
hop so you can fly, sis.
They got to bring back the swing. They got to bring back the swings with the. We got to teach these children again how to swing off. How to fly off the swings.
They literally need to sell a swing gate on Amazon. They need to sell a swing set with a stand-up gate on Amazon, so niggas who used to live in New York that moved out of town with their children could give that experience. Cause they not doing Spider-Mans off the swings at the playground when I go with my son.
Your daughter did.
She said Bella taught her how to jump off swings. Yeah, you got to get your agility. You got to jump. You got to jump over poles.
Nah, back in my day, they was doing backflips off this. They was doing Spider-Mans off the swing, y'all.
Yeah, they were doing Spider-Mans. Like, we was doing too much as children for people not to be able to do nothing today. Right. It's like ass backwards. Talking about,
Simone Biles and them was in the park with us when we was little. What you talking about? The Kool-Aid version, the now later version of Dominique.
Yeah. Remember when niggas originally got chip tooth from?
That, right?
Come on. Chip tooth came from niggas inadvertently flying off the swing the wrong way and hitting
the down the fence. Your whole face go down the fence.
Yeah, we jumped off everything. We used to do backflips off of garages, two-story garages when we lived in St. Croix. That was the flex. That was the double dare. I triple dog dare you to double flip backwards off of
Right.
the
And you couldn't
garage onto
say,
the
nah, I'm
mattress.
good. Couldn't say
And
nah.
you couldn't
You could
say
not say
nah.
nah.
Or you couldn't play. The triple dog and the double dog dare use is what grew us up. And they don't got that no more for the children. Unless you could fight. Unless you had a hell of a knuckle game, and you could back all of them up off you when you was a loner.
I got all my teeth.
Never broke a bone? No. She from Franklin. She talking big smack.
Right, I'm not doing that, nigga. We could just fight it
out, right?
Fight it out, right? So, yeah, Franklin Avenue raised females different. And this is the first place that we got to see that. Remember all of the girls from FA used to have razor teeth? She said that they have chipped tooth, but they all needed dental plans.
They was
Remember
biting the alarms off.
It was biting the alarm. Yeah, they was the
Right.
first ones to bite the alarms off. Like, that was Franklin Avenue shorties. Yeah, they had the pacifier teeth, right? So all of them, yeah, the Barshebas, right? They had the teeth, right? Overbite was real.
Overbite.
You know what I'm saying? Barkeisha with the overbite, son. Was knocking alarms off like this, bang, bang. I was like, oh shit. They had built-in clamps. Bro.
That mouth do.
FAP. They had. Yeah, they had. Yeah, with that mouth. Original. With
that was
mouth.
Fiverr FA. Remember, that was Fiverr for FA because you would have to go on Franklin Ave to get a bunch of buddies to steal for you.
Yeah. Yeah, to get all your alarms taken off. They'll have alarm takeoff service on FA. Niggas like leave the lunch bag here. Yeah, and the ink, when they came out with the ink alarms, right? They only had the finesse. They had
and then when the Lizzie bags came, they was sitting outside Franklin Ave train station like the Mexicans be outside of Home Depot waiting for somebody to come and get them to bag them up. That was Franklin Fiverr right there. Before there was Fiverr, niggas had Franklin Fiverr. Take me to King's Plaza and fill me up. And then you could send them home with a whole with a collection of bed sheets and they'd be good.
Egyptian 100 thread count bed sheets. Remember, Sears had them joints. It was very hard hands on.
Right.
You could hit shorty. You could hit shorty with the Sears 100 thread Egyptian cotton sheets, and she will walk out with $10,000 worth of merchandise for you. That
was Franklin Ave Fiverr. Dead ass. Dead ass.
Franklin Avenue. Because paying $25 a piece for the Calvin Klein cologne, and the Lizzie bag will fit up to 80 to 90 of them joints, and you reload. You know what I'm saying?
You can do about three or 4 runs. You know what I mean? You signing up for tours in Macy's, yeah. You gonna sign up for 4 tours like this Iraq. Niggas send because each tour is like being on the battlefield, right? Because the drones is the cameras, right? You got drones following you. So if you could read the cameras, if the ball starts spinning, nigga, your time is ticking because the loss prevention is coming out like the motherfucking they coming out like the defensive line on the Chicago Bears. You start hearing the walkie-talkies, that's like the referee whistle. Yeah, they coming for the tackle.
You running for them like they got suicide vests on. That's how far you got to get away from what we call the D's.
When you get D's, you take your wig off like shorty that just won the race. Hey!
Hey!
If you gotta go into turbo, that wig gotta come off, mama. Wig gotta come off.
Wig gotta come off.
Come out. Yeah, they gonna grab that.
Yeah.
What's her name? Cherie. What's her name? She broke the record with that one.
Nah, she stunted. You know what I mean? And it was inspirational. I was in the bed when I seen that video, and I got up and did some laps, bro. This Reed Richardson, I think his name is. Nah, that shit was for real, inspirational. Like I follow her now. I know her story, so I know about her ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? Last week was a very trying moment on the internet for women, for the identity, for the image, for the brand. Right. You know what I'm saying? Of it took a turn. I wouldn't say for the worse. It took a turn to put the issue in the spotlight. It's right. At a pinnacle focus right now. So to see her triumphantly, you know, what she represents as an archetype. You know what I'm saying? This modern day woman, coming from the slums of North America, the wilderness of North America, that is denuded of their responsibility to identity. And again, I don't blame women. It's the men in the society. We fucked up the brand. Up the brand, brand. And, you know, for lack of a better terms, outside of the legal context, we say that the brand is blackness, right? Right. Because it's a fiction already. Yeah. All of this fiction. You over here in America, you're participating in a fiction. Right. Over here in America. Right? So, yeah, pick your fictions accordingly. Because the colonizer's not here in his natural self, and neither are you, right? So we all participating in a fiction. But the beauty of it is that it's malleable, and you can fantasize and create your own fiction. Right? Everything is malleable over here. Motherfuckers came over here and did as thou wilt. We seen whole religions, we seen whole movements, we seen organizations get created over here, right? Be it somebody's imagination. Yeah. So the man creates the brand, and the man also is defending the brand, right? The man has to defend the brand tooth and nail because the man understands the brand is all he got. That's Wilt right there. Yeah, that's do what thou wilt. So, and again, I'm not denuding the responsibilities, the uniqueness of who a woman is or how she shows up, right? But men are responsible for setting, right? The men are responsible for putting the brand in place. Men are responsible for defending the brand, and men are responsible, you know what I'm saying, for pretty much, you know, the brand recognition comes with the fact that you're coupled with a person that exemplifies that brand. So remember, the whole conversation the other day went into the whole aspect about a high value man, right? And this conversation was brought forth by a Taurian named Kevin Samuels, right? So he was speaking about high values and things of that nature and skipped over the whole, you know, and that conversation was more so focused on cost and not value, because as a society, our people know the cost of everything and the value of nothing. So it wasn't even worth having a conversation about high value men, and he was attempting to make it appear that that shit has something to do with a nigga's bank account, and it has nothing to do with your bank account. It has everything to do with your virtues, your standards. So man sets the standard for the brand. Defends it tooth and nail. He defends the brand, he sets the standard, but the main promoter of the brand is the woman. Oh, right. I'm saying, yeah, that's brand recognition. I want to nail this home, that the main brand ambassador, the one who stamps everything, the one who says, if you hot, nigga, you about to be rich, right? The one who says, if this shit is lit, then it's lit. The one who says, if this club is where it's at, we going here, then that becomes the club where everybody got to go, right? The one who wakes up every morning and goes into a corporate structure to stamp, usually it's going to be a European man's dreams, right? And his logo and his brand, by them showing up every day and giving that shit sweat equity and that recognition, they're stamping it and they're branding it. And they're saying that
corporate America is the way to go. These jobs are the way to go. These brands are the number one brands is because the woman is the one that's the brand ambassador. She stamps everything. Versus if there was a business relationship between a husband and a wife and she stamped his brand and she stamped his ideas and she stamped his mission, right? And he protected the brand and he carried the brand, but she was the one who stamped that shit and a bunch of hers, not just her, but her friends and all of them co-signed it and got behind it and was like, this is it. This is the way to go. This is the one. This is the fucking key. This is lit. That's how shit starts to shift. But because our women are fed up with branding us, they're not gonna brand the shit that we're doing. We're not getting that brand recognition. You feel me? You know what I mean? We're not being brand sponsored. Other agendas are being brand sponsored. They're being co-signed. They're being stamped and whatnot. And those are the brands. Those are the agendas that are flying. Those are the brands that are rising. And those are the shits that are winning and whatnot. So there's a branding of what they call, they calling it thought culture. There's a branding of what is called drill culture. There's a branding of what is called, drug culture. None of these things coexist without the branding of Twitter, the branding of the Spotify streams, the branding of the YouTube watches and whatnot. Those numbers are basically signifying that that shit is it's being branded, it's being impressed upon, it's being given the energy, the wherewithal to expand and to exist and to be funded and to be looked at like this is the loudest voice in the room. You know? But when you ask where's the balance? You know, where's the God culture? If there's thought culture, where's Thoth culture? TOHTH, Thoth culture. You know, where it's about people using their minds and to create and to think, the scribers. But
Yeah, I think all of those things exist. They might not necessarily exist.
it's just that there's not a balance. Quick,
You
I
know,
want to put this on the screen because I saw a very interesting conversation taking place, and this conversation deserves my attention. And it was on Drink Champs, right? And it was a 5-hour interview with Tony Yayo. And Tony, yeah, Tony
5
Yayo.
hours.
At the end of the interview, Tony Yayo was having a conversation with DJ EFN. And he asked DJ EFN if he knows what Video Music Box was. And DJ EFN was like, nah, we didn't have that in Miami. So Tony Yayo said, well, shit, you not hip hop. You don't know hip hop then. And he was like, what you mean? He was like, we had the box. And Tony Yayo was like, nah, the box is not Video Music Box. He was trying to explain, but he kept getting cut off. Nori wouldn't even say anything. Nori wouldn't speak up for Video Music Box. Nori didn't volunteer to his audience that if there was no Video Music Box, nobody would know Noriega or Capone.
How about that? How about that? During the 27-year anniversary of CNN. No, of his solo of Nori. So again,
No, people might hear that and be like, yeah, I don't know what Red talking about. Nori Lit. Everybody would have found out about him eventually, right? Once again, and I said that I was gonna do this video to add context and to really be clear in my clarification about what when I say context, what was going on in those days and times when these brands were rising up, so people are not confused. First of all, no internet, no MTV, no VH1, no other stations in any of the states where any of y'all live in were broadcasting videos from rap. None. We're talking about zero. So if you put it on a graph and you see the quote unquote the technical analysis, the tail is at zero. It doesn't exist. There's a radio, there's a station in New York that's not even on main television. It's on this VHF channel. I mean, nobody watches this other channel. UHF. It's on UHF, which is like AM on your radio dial. There's a show that comes on at 3 p.m. and they show videos of rappers. Some of these videos, when you look back at it in hindsight, these videos look like they were shot on remember them little red things that we used to have, Blue, with the you know, these videos were imperative because we needed to see the rappers.
And they
were the best videos of that.
They followed the storyline.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They were amazing videos, and some of them were shot by Ralph McDaniel and Big Kid, his partner,
this was
DJ.
Right, and this was a time when we had something called Friday Hot Tracks, right? They were indoctrinating our generation with pop music overload. But we were encapsulated in all musical expression. We wasn't biased. We was taking in everything. But
yeah, you know, we grew up listening to Duran Duran. We grew up listening to Hall & Oates.
Right.
We grew up listening to the Talking Heads. We grew up listening to Billy Dan.
Everything.
We grew up listening to we grew up listening to Madonna. You know what I'm saying? All of these things were made available by these video outlets who were filling in the blanks for MTV, because MTV was only playing 6 or 7 videos at that time on repeat.
But hip hop was MTV. Nobody, MTV. You didn't have a phone where you could look at shit. You didn't have an internet. You had none of that. They wasn't even selling it on. You didn't have mixtapes. You didn't have DVDs. You have none of that. You have Video Music Box. If you was on Video Music Box, your chances of being a part of the golden era of hip hop were like 89%. Meaning that I can't think of any artist who's a part of that golden era who didn't get broke on Music Box. He was what was
facts. The Music Box was integral. So I mean, let's make your point, because I just, you know, I don't want you to overdrill it. Miami was not subject. Other regional areas were not subject to hip hop, Video Music Box and education that came with that. So they adopted and did their own thing. So now what's your point?
That the era of the golden era, the impact of a Big Daddy Kane, the impact of what Biz Markie really brought to the game, the impact of who Rakim really was, the impact of Kool G Rap versus LL Cool J, all of these experiences, all of the cultural significance of what these times were, what they meant to the culture, are missed on a large majority of our people, because they did not receive that through certain other video channels the way that we were receiving it through Ralph McDaniels. So when I watched Tony Yayo say what he said to EFN, I realized that he has a point. The hip hop that the experience of a culture that's 50 years old that we were able to experience was enriched. It was given to us through a filter that we were fed a full experience versus a fractured, piecemealed, processed version.
Uh,
Excuse me.
I'm
All
listening.
right, here's an example. Watching Wu-Tang Clan blow up on Video Music Box versus watching Wu-Tang Clan, the Hulu movie, the Hulu series. Those two experiences is what I'm talking about. Being able to live through the real experience.
And and both of them provided means in which people can discover the
Of course.
music, can discover the
Of course.
history and everything else. So what I'm saying, yeah, get over it, right? That like your heroes are
I'm
not
not
other people's heroes. These regional markets, hold on, these regional markets,
right.
even if there was a pipeline, you feel like your information and the shit that moves you don't
All
move
right.
other people
Right.
based on where you're at. What was going on in New York would not have worked in Miami. Luke works in
Because
Miami
of that
for Miami because
region,
of that
definitely.
region, because of the history of their music is based, because they are the root sacral chakra of this particular country. Then you're gonna get booty shaking and pussy popping coming from there. They don't got time to listen to motherfucking MC Light. I had this conversation the other day with Ty Phoenix when we did our 3-hour,
Right.
build here on Instagram. Bro, the only place in the continental United States of America where women can speak the way that they did was in New York City or in the tri-state area, right? The northeastern region of our country is the only place that women had a say in determining how they wanted to be sexualized, how they wanted to be fetishized, how they
Right.
wanted to be observed and respected. Only women from New York set the tone and had the wherewithal to have these conversations. The liberalism and the feminism that came by way of New York hip hop and the platform, right, that women were given to express themselves existed nowhere else in the country and still don't to this day, right? It don't exist in the South where female sexuality is suppressed. She's on the bottom of a nigga's shoe. LA, forget
Right.
about it. Forget about it, right? It's so bad out there, right, that to this day, they will turn a melanated woman into a glass of wine. Like, she'll step on her like a grape. The darker the berry, the more wine they're
Right.
going to turn up out of her ass. In the Midwest, same thing. Pimping is too strong, right? A woman don't have a say. Nobody
Right.
wants to hear what the fuck is on her mind, let alone hear it in a rhyme. New York was the only place that happened. That level of liberalism would not play in the same regions, right? Because it's not supported by the culture. The shit that Wu-Tang was on in terms of mathematics is not supported by the culture. That's why when people from regions come on them shows and they be having when they do the test,
Yeah.
they name 2 artists, right?
Right. Right.
Like
Right.
NWA,
Based on their
NWA,
region. Right.
based on their region, is more than 85% dumb, deaf, and blind, right? So the numbers, just based on the mathematics of what you understand by mathematics, you know that the thing that you're speaking about is the exception and not the rule, right? Consciousness is the exception for black people and not the rule. Hold on. Having a understanding of history and is an exception and not the rule with melanated people in the age of ignorance where 85% of us are
Right.
dumb, deaf, and blind, right? But every motherfucker knows Doodoo Brown.
Right.
And they have they preserve, nigga, that's culture, right? And you know what the fuck comes with that. From a baby to the age of 80, face down, ass up.
But that's a part of Video Music Box, though.
Huh?
That's still a part of Video Music
So
Box.
ignorance
He was showing Luke.
on the East Coast side.
We had Akinelli.
Again, he had a machine that exposed us to all aspects of hip hop. And because we come from a Eastern regional market, we can appreciate culture. Folks, we don't even have to get with it. We listened. I grew up on NWA before
Right.
you did. I grew up on E. I had an appreciation for all of these different genres of music in these different regions. But that's not where hip hop was at. Hip hop was fighting these regions, telling them niggas they wasn't hip hop for the same reason that Tony Yayo told EFN that he ain't hip hop, and you trying to motherfucking exasperate that conversation. I'm like, no, let niggas have their regional expressions because that's the shit that matters most to them. Yeah, they missed out on your shit. What have you done with your shit as a culture to preserve it? I'm not speaking about you in particular. Let's just speak about New York hip hop. Let's speak about, yeah, our people had influence. They had access to and exposure to all of these different aspects of hip hop, only to tell niggas that they not hip hop. Only to fucking the New York arrogance to come to the forefront and for them to tell niggas that they ain't hip hop. While these other niggas was out selling them, out influencing them, right? And running circles around them. So let's not fall into that same mistake that everybody else seems to have made. What hip hop is versus what hip hop ain't. Like a nigga don't know, a nigga can't look at hip hop and say that the shit has southern roots and not northern roots to begin with. Motherfuckers don't talk about the last poets, but they won't talk about the origins of hip hop. Niggas don't talk about hip hop. Niggas don't talk about bebop come from jazz, so the origins of hip hop is really
Right.
Congo Square, New Orleans.
No, there's truth in that. But let me ask you a question. Did you see the interview that I'm referring to? Question, bro. You jumping out the window. I'm asking you a question. But let me explain to you what he talking to him when he said that he don't know hip hop. Once again, why I started. Let me explain to you what he meant when he told him about not understanding hip hop. Just relax, bro. Okay, just relax.
I'm listening.
What he was explaining to DJ EFN.
I'm listening.
And what I'm explaining as well is the era of Video Music Box, right? It introduced the people who were listening to hip hop at that time to the music in a certain type of way, right? There was a certain set of artists. They were considered to be the music video box era artists. That would be like Big Daddy Kane. That would be like Biz Markie, because they didn't transfer into the MTV rap era the same way that they translated in the Video Music Box era, right? The experiences of going through the golden era, Slick Rick when he was dropping his videos, all of that stuff. That's what Tony Yayo was trying to explain to EFN about the whole thing with hip hop versus the way that he may see hip hop, because he did not experience that, and he may not. That whole era right there is lost to a lot of people who didn't experience it. That's all I'm saying. But hold on. So if they were born in the 90s, or if they were born in the year 2000, and that whole back catalog of a Big Daddy Kane and a Slick Rick, there's no context given to it. The best context that I could give to that era would be look into the Video Music Box documentary, and if you could find old episodes on YouTube or other places in the cloud, go and watch it so you can have a better understanding of that experience. Yeah, we can wait for him to come back. His reception may have been off in the woods. But yeah, like I said, there's a documentary on Showtime
Nas was behind it, and it's a good documentary on Ralph McDaniels. And he also has some other things on YouTube. But go and check out that show so you could understand when people bring up the word video music box and they speak about the importance of it, you can have a better understanding about what that really means to our culture. Oh, my Wi-Fi is off as well. Let me know if my Wi-Fi got better. The name of the documentary is You're Watching Video Music Box. It's called You're Watching Video Music Box. That's the name of the doc. Okay, we good? All right. Yeah. So as we wait for Blue to come back in, if y'all got any questions in the chat room, go ahead and ask them, and I'll be sure to answer them for you. You said it's very pixelated. Let me know if the reception is better. I had to turn off the Wi-Fi. Yeah, I tapped you in, Queen.
What's up, Red? You can hear me? Can you hear me? Damn, the internet is... You can hear me, Red?
Oh, that's a bro. What up? I can hear you.
Peace, God. Yeah, y'all was touching some major points. I came from the video music box era and all of that, but we had to request videos then. You could call in through pay-per-view.
No, that's the box. See,
Yeah.
that's why I'm making the distinction. There's something called the box.
And the video music jukebox too. It was two of them.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about video music box with Ralph McDaniels. You didn't call nothing in. He was breaking artists.
Oh,
This
yeah. I remember that with
that's why I'm like, a lot of people out of town, they got it mixed up. And they like, oh, word, I used to watch the box too. I used to watch the box with fire. And I'm like, nah, that's not what we talking about, something completely different. So once again, the branding got crossed. And everything, the box.
Yeah.
And they had two other versions called Box Something and The Box, and where you could order your videos.
Yeah.
That wasn't Ralph McDaniels. Ralph McDaniels is something different. Look, the documentary is online. It's called You're Watching Video Music Box. They could say it better than I could tell it. You feel me? They could say it better than I could tell it. Those TV shows that the video music box, the call-in things and the ordering the videos, that was the evolution of our video experience. And then we went into like full-blown MTV shows and stuff like that.
That's true. I see what you're saying. I see the cross between it. You're right too. Damn, that's crazy how history could get mixed up and then it could get buried. You're always touching some major points though on the evolution of hip hop and the way it's going right now.
Right. Yeah, man. If we're evolving, then it has to evolve. It's a no-brainer. It's not outside of us.
That's
true. Not disconnected from us. This is, regardless of if we own the rights to hip hop, or if we're all getting paid from it, it don't change the fact that hip hop is the people.
That's facts. No, that's a major fact. You said them.
People are waking up if the people are leveling up, we could say what we want about each other, but we would be very malevolent to say that our collectively our people are not leveling up in some type of way. You know, the majority of the people that I know, they're improving upon themselves. You know what I mean? So where does that, where could we find that in our music? Where could we find that in our culture, in all 5 pillars that I pointed out? The dance, the artwork, the MCing, the DJing, and then the consciousness or the knowledge itself.
That's true. We need to bring that back though. Conscious music need to come
It's
back. Right.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. All of that, I don't like to talk in terms of people not arriving. It's already here. It's just not. It's not on the platform where you would want it to be, to make enough noise to where it would satisfy what you want. You did the type of volume that you needed to be before you start saying, "I hear that shit." It's here. You know what I mean? It is here. You know.
To do a record together, me, you, and Blue, because I know you nice with the vocals. I done heard you already, and both of y'all got conscious music. So we might need to start something, a new platform or something for conscious music, and start waking up the minds of people, because that's what it's revolved into now. Right now, this watered down trap music is trash. I don't even listen to that no more. I'm on Afro beats and conscious music and all that. I'm done with trap. I don't even want to hear that.
Well, once again, there you go. As you change, your taste changes.
Yeah.
When your taste changes, then you realize that there's something out there for your taste. So the more you got into Africa, the more you start getting into Afro beats, or the more Afro beats became bigger in the world and whatnot. And now Afro beats is a part of your life, and that music is